Please welcome that act to the stage, Mr. Drew Stearne.
Thank you very much. Nice warm round of applause there. This is a genuinely really nice room, and I'm really nervous to be here as Russell's warm-up act. I mean, I'm so nervous you can probably smell, right? That's the kind of stage that we're at. I was trying to get my family excited about this gig, and I was trying to explain to my parents that I've got a warm-up gig for one of my favorite comedians, and they didn't really understand what a warm-up performer was. So I tried to put it in context that my dad would understand. I said, you know, like when you're watching the football, right? A big international game, the players are lined up in the tunnel, ready to go. And sometimes the player at the front is holding the hand of a small child. That's essentially what I am here today. You know, is that child excited to be there? Absolutely. Do they love the game? 100%. Are they one day going to be a household name? Probably not. Do we have any fans of podcasts in? Statistically, there's going to be quite a few. I've decided that I'm going to start a true crime podcast. Not because I have any interest in true crime or even in podcasting in general, but I think this is the only way I'm going to be able to get my wife to listen to me. Right? She has no idea what my plans are on a day-to-day basis, but she can tell me every single one of Ted Bundy's victims. I've had some bad news recently. I was laid off from my job that I'd had for, thank you for the outpouring of sympathy. I was there for 16 years and they made me redundant. Yeah, genuinely. And going through what a lot of other people are going through, my job was made redundant because I was replaced by AI. I was sad to have lost the job, sad to be out of work, but what was really crushing was that I felt shortchanged because I knew that AI was coming for me, right? I grew up in the 90s on movies like Terminator 2. This has been promised to me for the last 30 years, but I thought it would come in the form of Arnold Schwarzenegger in a torn leather jacket and a shotgun, not Jill from HR over Zoom. Right? Skynet sent a robot back in time. Management sent my P45 in the mail. Ridiculous, right? I had a lot of time off, of course, being made redundant. And my wife said I should be productive in that time, you know, use it to better myself, work on some real personal growth. And I did. Sat on the couch, drank beer for 2 months and put on 2 stone of personal growth. Right there is my personal growth. I hadn't realized how bad it was getting until some people started standing up and offering me their seat on the bus. You try to correct them. You go like, ooh, no, I'm a man. And this is London. So they just gently put the hand on my shoulder and say, you absolutely are. So I took the seat because, to be fair, my ankles were really swollen. At that point, though, you have to kind of lean into it, right? And go like, oh, yes, we're going to name her after her dad. Stella. With all this extra time off that I had, I thought I'd be more productive in helping out with my kids. I had an 8-year-old son. I still do, actually. And they were having a school trip to the Natural History Museum, and I thought this would be a nice opportunity to do a bit more parenting, be a bit more hands-on. So I volunteered to help along, and I thought I'd be the cool dad. You know, I wanted to really make my son proud, so I picked out my coolest outfit that I could have, like nice trainers, cool jeans, and a leather jacket. And it was kind of wasted on these kids, because as soon as I picked them up from the school, the 4 boys that I had, one of them pointed at me and said, "You look like a pedo." This is a generation of kids who have grown up knowing that we're not allowed to hit them. The stuff that they will say at the end of the trip when the school teacher asked them what their favorite dinosaur was that they'd seen that day, he just pointed at me. The real problem came, though, right at the end of the day, when the head teacher said, okay, it's a long train trip journey home. Let's all go to the toilet before we go so we don't have to hold up the trip. And so all the girls go off into the girls' toilets. And all the boys go off into the boys' toilets. And the head teacher says to me, Mr. Stearne, do you mind just going in with the boys, just to make sure they're okay? And I was the only dad on this trip. And there were no male teachers on this trip. So I said yes, and I agreed, and I went in because I hadn't really thought it through. Because all the kids are wearing school uniforms, and all the teachers outside are wearing high-vis jackets, big name of the school on the back, big laminated school ID badges, and there I am in my leather jacket, just watching. It occurs to me that this might look a little bit weird, and just as it does, a man comes in, surveys the carnage going on of 28-year-old boys trying to use the toilets. There's at least 2 per stall. There's water fights happening at the sink. 8-year-old boys have only just learnt to use urinals, so they stood there with trousers and pants around their ankles, holding up, piss going absolutely everywhere. He surveys this carnage, this junior reenactment of the Battle of the Somme, and he just looks at me and says, "Are you their teacher?" I just looked him dead in the eyes and I said, "No. I'm just watching." I am no longer welcome at the Natural History Museum. Ladies and gentlemen, you have genuinely been a fantastic audience, but as I said, I am just the warm-up. You are the lucky people who are going to sit through one of my genuinely favorite comedians on the circuit right now. So get the clapping started and welcome to the stage, Mr. Russell Hicks!